All right, guys. So good morning. I hope everyone's ready for another trading day. Just finished documenting my trades and checking out the watch list. What we're gonna have today: STAF, PEI are two of our lead gappers. I'm not super stoked about them, but let's see if something else pops up. In the meantime, I want to talk about WKHS a little bit. Workhorse. I know it's been a hot one in the chat and overall in EV sector. We just made a video yesterday, actually, and let me go over here. About HYLN, another EV stock that is worth looking into. And yeah, the EV sector has been really, really hot. Now I kind of want to do a little bit of a follow-up video on Workhorse just a little bit because, yeah, it's kind of been a while since we've talked about it. To me, this was a ticker we were originally day trading. This was in our day trading account, so I was not, looking to swing trade this one or whatnot. To me, in these areas, I was a little bit nervous. It's had a huge move. But we'll talk a little bit more on the kind of technicals a little bit because that's kind of what I primarily focus on. But let's kind of start here getting a little bit of base together. NASDAQ traded company, a good place to always look over is just their website. It's always kind of just nice to get a little bit of an overview, see what they're up to. And the reason I did kind of mention that it's really, really similar to HYLN is because this is like almost identical in terms of EV trucking company. So this really, really fits the video we made yesterday, guys. If you want to check it out, a video we made yesterday. Okay, so let's kind of get started here a little bit. Some of the latest news that I kind of want to be focusing on here a little bit is that the Wall Street analysis, Roth Capital, they downgraded this ticker recently from $33 price target to $27 price target, and from a buy to a neutral rating. Now, you guys probably know, I always say this when we are day trading small caps, is I don't really care too much about price targets. I feel like they're always kind of, in hindsight, they're always a little bit slow. They're really, I don't know. I don't really care too much about price targets. And if we're ever day trading a small cap, it almost never really affects the price. So it's not something I would put too much weight on, but I have noticed it's a lot of kind of rumors and there's a lot of people talking about it. So I just kind of wanted to point out that thing. I think the big thing that's affecting the stock price right now is just the USPS. They announced kind of the delay of the contract to later in the year. I think the problem I have with a ticker like this at the moment is, and I kind of wanted to hold up on this a little bit, but when it catalyzes like that, right, everyone is kind of anticipating on WKHS right now. Even if you're a long-term investor, it's really, really important, these kind of short-term news things that's going on with WKHS. A larger ticker like, Tesla, it doesn't really matter if it, wins or loses a contract like that. But for Workhorse, this is kind of like one of those huge contracts, right? And it can affect the stock price dramatically. So I don't like trading around that. I avoided Battery Day. I sold all my positions before Battery Day. We've seen a lot in the EV space. It's all about, buying the rumor and selling the news. And again, it seemed to hold true again on this one. So yeah, let's keep going on here. What I like to do on these kind of swing trades, and especially with the mid caps, although I gotta say, Workhorse is really kind of turning into a bit of a large cap here. Definitely still of a mid cap, but it's had such a strong run that this is a $2 billion company now. It's quite impressive. Let's go back here. So one thing I do always like to do is kind of follow the money, see what the insiders are doing. So the CEO Dwayne Hughes, there's actually an interesting interview on CNBC with him in, I think it was August, but I would have to check again. August. And he made an interesting point that he really says a lot of the price run up has been a kind of spotlight on the EV space. So he himself kind of admits it's been a huge run up, and they haven't really changed anything too drastically. Fundamentally, they're making constant improvements, but not to the point where, oh my God, this thing should be up 8,000%. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. So that's why I'm a little bit skeptical on buying a ticker like this. To me, the risk reward on this one is a little bit trickier, and to me, I find a little bit more risk on it. I'm not saying it's not a good investment. I'm not saying it's not a good swing trade. I'm just saying it's sometimes a little bit harder to kind of sleep at night. I feel like holding a ticker like this where, they could come out with an offering at any time. Good for a little, and actually let's go here to Workhorse a little bit. And if you scroll down, you can always see here on the bottom of FinViz, the recent activities, and you can see there's just been a lot of sales going on, right? Even Hughes did some sales here in this area. So you want to be really, really kind of careful in these zones. A lot of people are taking profits, and it's not that they might not be bullish, but they believe short term it's a really good time to take profits, maybe even midterm, maybe even long term. Who knows? Maybe in the next 1-2 years it might actually pull back a little bit. I don't know. These just like follow the money, and right now the insiders are selling, so it's pretty much that simple. Now you do want to take that with a fairly big grain of salt. Richard Branson, who is the founder of everything, kind of pretty much a Virgin, like from bookstores to Virgin Cruise to Virgin Banks, Virgin Airlines, you guys know it. Anyway, he sold $500 million of Space, the SPCE ticker. Doesn't mean he's not, long Space. He's actually like, I've read all of his books and I follow him very closely, and he is, all in on space exploration, space tourism, and all that fun stuff. To me, it's just, to him, he had to sell some of his shares so he can put that money into his other companies that are struggling through coronavirus. Like he has a lot of leisure, kind of a lot of travel, a lot of tourism companies, everything from his airlines to his cruise lines. He needs that money to kind of keep them afloat. So that's why he sold. So, there's just because someone's selling something doesn't necessarily mean that they are against it or they feel like it's the right time to sell or something like that. It's sometimes, their life forces them to do certain things. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure Richard Branson would have been holding. So, take the selling with definitely a big grain of salt. I'm not selling, I'm not saying that it's, a sign that it's gonna, tank. I'm just saying, be aware of where the money's going. And right now it seems to be flowing out a little bit. One thing I do always like to kind of check out as well is, who has ownership. Check out some of the bigger names. So I didn't go through all the list, but definitely, guys, I always like to do my due diligence here. I'll probably be making out another video about the whole entire kind of board or a lot of the big investors behind Space. So definitely consider subscribing if you're new here, if you want to get an update on that video. And let's keep going here. So with Hughes, you guys can obviously go through the statements, or this is actually Demon's Form 4 that he filed, and you can kind of see this. An easy way to remember the codes is S is for sale and P is for purchase. That's always kind of a quick rule of thumb. I've posted this link before, the transaction codes. That's kind of where I got that. To remember that P stands for purchase and S for sales, because I'm always like kind of overwhelmed by all the codes all the time, and that's always like a nice little rule of thumb I like to keep in mind. So I linked that here as well for you guys as a little reminder. This whole entire post will be in the video description below. Quick over. Oh yeah, also I forgot to mention here, Workhorse had a split a little bit ago, right down here. That's in 2015. So typically, a company will do a split when their stock price is below $1, because to be listed on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, you have to have a stock price over $1. So they were having a hard time staying afloat, and that's why they did a reverse split. That helped their stock price get back above. But let's say you had 10 shares at $1. Now you have one share at $10. Is kind of how a reverse split works. So that way they have a higher stock price. But the reverse splits tend to be really, really bad, because now the company can add dilution and the stock price goes back down, right? And they're trying to raise capital. But since they did a reverse split, they have a really, really small float now. So they have a float that's kind of getting into our small cap territory, even though it's a fairly large company, a float of 96 million. While a company like Tesla, for example, has they did not a reverse split, they actually did a normal split, so their float increased. So they have 741 million. So a company like Tesla is going to be a much slower mover than a company like Workhorse. So Workhorse has that spike ability in both directions. You want to keep that in mind. Going here to the stock price a little bit more, the 180 moving average, simple moving average, has been a huge kind of support for it for a really, really long time. It looks like we cracked this area with bigger volume now for the first time. That's what's making me a little bit pessimistic in the short term on this one. I would probably consider buying Workhorse. Maybe in the 20s. I have no limit order out for this one yet. I'm not holding this one, but it could be a good upcoming trade. It really, really depends. How this 20 zone will hold. I do believe, though, if we hit 20, there will be a short-term little bounce in this area for at least a little bit if we do continue to go back down. I'm not sure if it's going to be a debt count bounce or not, but that's just my quick kind of thought. So yeah, overall, Workhorse, again, guys, you can check out this whole article on your own time that I'm posting in the first pinned comment below. You know, it's had a huge rally in the last 2 years. In the last 5 months, it's had a massive rally. In my eyes, there's a lot of competition in this space. Tesla has trucks. You have companies like HYLN. There's so many more that we haven't even talked about yet. But, you know, this company has that spike ability. So who knows what's going to happen? I think, you know, anytime there's some rumors about it, it's going to shoot back up. Anytime some rumors, you know, aren't as great, it's going to shoot back down, and it's just going to be kind of a volatile ticker for sure. Yeah, and overall, you know, the EV space is really hot. So let's see what happens in that space. It's going to be fun to follow, I think, for definitely many more months to come. Yeah, so that's kind of what my thoughts are here on almost said NKLA. WKHS. I would love to know what you guys think about WKHS. I know a lot of you guys in the chat room are trading it. So yeah, definitely leave a comment below. I'd be super stoked to kind of check out what the community census is on this one, especially if you are totally new to this channel. All right, guys, don't forget, we go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to learn more about day trading and swing trading and keep up to what kind of swing trades I'm trading, don't forget to join us on those live streams. That's everything for now. Like always, stay safe, make some awesome trades, guys. I'll see you later. Ciao, ciao.